you spend the most time with is who you're going to start mirroring. If that person's not spiritual, you're going to become less and less spiritual. You're going to forget who you are. He was so physical. Like, he was just so three-dimensional. You just got to be careful, like, who you put your time and energy in, because a man who's not spiritual will waste your fucking time. He will have you going on tangents, consuming rather than creating. He will have you worshiping him instead of worshiping God. Instead of creating your reality, he'll have you complaining about externals and fixating on things you cannot control or change. And this is why I can never date a man who's not spiritual again. It's frustrating to spend a lot of your time and energy on something that was not in alignment. So my last relationship was with a man who just was not spiritual at all. And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking about like new age spirituality. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about a personal connection to God, or a personal connection to the divine, or a personal connection to the universe, or like whatever you will call it. But like this intrinsic inner knowing that you're part of something bigger, that you came from something bigger. And I think we did talk about the power of mindset and optimism and positivity, but sometimes it was very like, no, you have to ignore your body and push through anyway. And I think that works for a lot of men. They love them some David Goggins, but like, are they in touch with their physical body? Like, are they in touch with, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe this is the wrong decision? Like, are they really in touch with that? It's hard to say. I think living in your head actively cuts off your ability to connect with God. And that's the thing too, is like, you have to actually believe in God. You have to actually believe there's something more to this world than just the physical. He was so physical. Like, he was just so three-dimensional, like so like boxed in. He was so cubic. He wasn't a square, which is good. Like, he wasn't two-dimensional, but he was a cube. He was a humanist, really. He was just very obsessed with like human work, human bodies of work. City boy, I guess. I'm at the park, as you can see. And if you're in nature, you become reminded of the fact that all this rat race shit is just not real. You become reminded of the fact that there's an entire micro world inside of our macro world. The highs and the lows mimic each other. You start to see universal patterns. You start to see things as way bigger than what they seem in the moment. And I just felt like that relationship was just stifling my perception of reality. It was just keeping me locked in like A plus B equals C, Mackenzie. A plus B equals C. No, there are lots of other ways to see things. I want to see life through a variety of different lenses. I want to like go back into nature and remind myself what really is true. Like, what is the truth? Because the more you live in the modern world, the more you get sucked in. You can literally get whisked away. 6 months later, turn around and be like, damn, like, who have I become? I cannot date a man who's not spiritual, because who you spend the most time with is who you're going to start mirroring. If that person's not spiritual, you're going to become less and less spiritual. You're going to forget who you are. Anyone can get really brainwashed in a relationship. And this kind of goes in tandem with the first point, because you can just start to forget that there's a world outside that relationship. You can start becoming so like focused on being a good girlfriend or being a good wife or being a good partner to this person that you completely forget about your own goals. You completely forget about the spirit. You can't hear God anymore. You can't hear spirit talking to you and telling you, like, this man has become your God, essentially, and you don't have the time. You're over here cooking dinner for him and listening to him talk about his problems with work, cleaning his fucking apartment, and like, you're just over here doing all this extra shit. And it's distracting you from all the things that God has actually called you to do. I believe that what God's called you to do changes from time to time. I think that what God's called you to do in this season of your life might be different from what God's called you to do in the next season of your life or a previous season of your life. I just think it's important to keep that channel open and never try to fill, like, because all of us have like a God-shaped hole, so to speak. You can try to fill this God-shaped hole with a relationship, and I think the worst thing to do is to fill that hole with a man that's not godly. They don't even understand what it feels like to be called to do something like of higher purpose. They don't even understand what it's like. He doesn't even understand how to talk to you about these things. Like, and it just puts a big divide between you. Yeah, they might be supportive, but they also might secretly judge you or look down on you. I don't really know what it's like for people who aren't spiritual. Like, how is your mind like set up? Because I genuinely can't even fathom not being spiritual. How do you deal with hard times? How do you deal with struggle? Like, how do you overcome hardship when you don't have a spiritual belief system? And it's not just a spiritual belief system, but a spiritual inner knowing. You know, this life is only temporary. Everything is only temporary. And that freaks me out. It's like, how do people go through life without that? A man who's not spiritual will waste your fucking time. I don't think I realized in the moment like how much I was actually conceding on my genuine beliefs because I was trying to maintain a connection with him. When you're in the honeymoon phase, part of the decision to love this person is a decision to stuff down other sides of yourself, to meet them in the middle, so to speak, and focus on the ways in which you do connect. And in order to maintain that connection, that does mean those important parts of yourself, maybe even vital parts of yourself, are shrunken down for the sake of that connection. All the work that I've done in my life, the spiritual work, just started to be like this convenient thing that helped me to do the right thing in certain situations with him. It wasn't valued. Like, all the work I did on myself wasn't valued with him because he wasn't a spiritual person. He went to therapy and found a lot of success by going to therapy, but that's not how I healed. I healed through spirituality. Some people just don't see the work you've done on yourself because that's not how they're wired. That's not the way that they experience the world. And they're always going to self-gratify and think, damn, like, I'm the greatest, and damn, like, I just fucking did that shit, huh? And it's like, no, like, spirit's at work here. Like, the Lord's at work, like, God's at work, like, the universe is at work. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm so self-obsessed, so that's probably why we attracted each other. I was supposed to be doing certain things, but then I met this person and went down this rabbit hole, so to speak, and it definitely feels like I got a little bit lost along the way. A couple days ago, I was just repeating to myself, like, I just feel so lost. I just feel so lost. I think it was last night. Masculine energy, you're going to want to be led by that energy. Like, you're going to want to recede into your feminine when you've got a masculine person around you and they're the captain of a ship, and you need to be careful you're not on a sinking one. They just want to drive the boat. And so you just want to make sure that that whoever you're letting steer is capable, is conscious, is aware of what direction you're actually moving in, because obviously self-confidence is important, but if they're self-assured in the wrong way, you're going to be going in the wrong direction. And it might not even be the complete opposite. It might just be like 45 degrees off. But even if it's just 45 degrees off, you're still moving in the wrong direction. I don't see how a person who is not tapped in with spiritual things, does not have higher knowledge, can actually lead anything or anyone at all. My goal is not to just beat on him and say like, oh, like he's a terrible person and blah, blah, blah. He's a great person. He's just not spiritual. You can reason with a spiritual man. You can, because you guys ultimately see reality through the same lens, and you hold the same fundamental belief system. But if you're with a man who's not spiritual, he will argue with you about reality, or he will try to convince you that you're delusional or like a conspiracy theorist, and you will start feeling ashamed of how you see things and how you show up in the world. That will really destroy your relationship with yourself, and it'll destroy your ability to manifest. It'll destroy your ability to hear the divine's voice, and it will also destroy your results. If the source of your power stems from spiritual principles, then you basically have cut yourself off of your power in order to maintain a relationship with this person. And I'm sorry, nothing is worth that. Obviously, the divine can work in mysterious ways. The divine can use people like that to help you. I really don't believe in tangents. I think it's a funny thing to say, and I think it's the easiest way to explain how I feel about it. But yeah, I don't really think anything's like a mistake, and I don't go around harboring regret because I feel like everything's a learning experience. Some people are just not spiritual. Like, they're choosing to see themselves as separate from this universal divine energy, whereas like, why would I want to separate myself from that when I can fucking tap into it and let that shit do the work for me? That's my perception. Like, that's kind of like how I see things. But some people, that scares them. They want everything to be concrete because they want to feel like they're in control, and they don't don't know how to let go and let God because it's too scary for them. The moral of the story is, don't let a connection with some random stranger you met on the internet cut you off of your God-given power and your divine birthright to love and wealth and abundance and a life of ease. Life is so much harder when you ignore your body and cut off your connection to your spiritual self, because you're doing everything on manual mode. If something goes wrong, you have to fix it. Like in the 3D, there's no giving it to God because there's no God to give it to.